Well, hey there, and welcome to my channel. I'm Crafty Kathy, the owner and creator of Kids Vintage Farmhouse in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I am so happy and thankful that you stopped in to craft and spend a little time with me today. And this is Miss Roxy Renee. She's my little 4-pound Yorkie. She's a year old, and I actually was able to get her away from my husband long enough to show her off. I've been showing off Tuffy Tater, my pug, in the past few videos, but I feel so bad because I'm never able to show her off, but it's because she's glued to the hip to my husband. She loves him so much. So, anyways, we're doing some retro Christmas DIYs. And retro just means my interpretation of what vintage items would be like, if that makes sense. But anyways, enough of my blabbing. Let's get into these DIYs, shall we, Miss Rox?
Isn't she a foxy lady?
The first DIY is a retro picture of a little girl. The items that I'm going to use to make this is going to be one of these little 6x8 postcard pieces that came from a banner that I got at Temu. And then we're also going to use this beautiful stencil that I got from Milton's daughter. I'll tell you how you can get one of those later if you want one. And then I'm going to use this 8x10. You can use it as a picture or a tray. It came from Temu also. This bottle brush tree that came from a thrift store. And this green tinsel and these buttons, both from Temu. Now let's get to crafting. The first thing that I'm going to do is take this wood piece and I'm going to use my DIY paint in the color called Crinoline. My favorite paint. It's clay based and it is a gorgeous creamy off-white color. So we are going to give this one coat. DIY paint is so thick you only need one coat on most items. And to be honest with you, I'm just going to do a really messy coat because if little bits and pieces of this brown peeks through kind of around the corners or whatnot, it actually looks intentional and it's very pretty. Now when the paint dried, I pulled out this gorgeous stencil that's made by Decoupage Queen, and I got this from my friend Lori over at Milton's Daughter. I get so much of my craft supplies from Miss Lori, and I'm going to leave the information in the comment section and in the description box so she's really easy to find. That way, if you want any of the craft supplies that you see me use from Milton's Daughter, it's going to be so easy to find. In case you're wondering what I'm doing right here, I'm just cutting this stencil down so that it will fit a little bit easier inside this little wood box here or this wood picture. Normally I would just cut it in half, but since it's such a intricate snowflake-like pattern, I'm afraid to cut it because it's not going to look right when I put the pieces back together. Lori sent me this beautiful green color called Salty Kiss by DIY Paint. Now, you're going to see this color of this paint, and I know you'll agree with me. It is the perfect color for like vintage or retro Christmas. That's exactly what I thought when I first saw it was, wow, it looks like the old green that they used back in the day. So I'm just laying my stencil down, and the way that I like to do my stenciling is to use a stencil brush and have very, very little paint on the end of my brush like you're dry brushing, and that just means you have very little product on your brush. I tap off the excess on that wax paper, and I just go up and down tapping it like tap, 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 tap all over. I have a lot of friends that swear by when they're stenciling that it's so much easier to do that circling motion, but I've never really had good luck with it, to be honest with you, because I don't tape my stencils down. I just hold them together. But this was a lot of tapping up and down, so toward the end I did try it a little bit and it actually worked okay for me, but to be honest, I think that's probably the first time it's ever worked that well for me. I don't normally do a lot of stenciling, but when I do, I like to tap mine. So anyways, that's totally beside the point, and now we're going to let this beautiful green dry. So I used my little heat gun and dried that up really quick. I used it on a low setting. And then I'm going to grab this little piece of this banner. I got these from Temu. There was 15 of them and they were only like $2.99 or something. Now, I'm not going to use it as a banner that you can hang up. I'm going to use it for pictures and that type thing in my DIYs. So when I figured out exactly where I wanted my little girl to lay down, I was going to use some Gorilla Wood glue, but upon further inspection, my Gorilla Wood glue was like dried up. I've had it for so long. Most of my glues I do. So I resorted to using some Aleene's tacky glue because it's not a wet glue like Mod Podge, and it's got that tackiness to it where it would be really easy and quick to get her down there without messing up the cardboard. And so I laid that down exactly where I wanted it and made sure that it's good and stuck on there. Isn't she cute? I used to wear those coats like that when I was little, and this little girl just so much reminds me of like myself. I'm taking this old bottle brush, and who knows where this thing came from. I'm assuming it came from a thrift store or something. It had a really thick wire in it, so I cut that wire down, and I know that I wanted to put this on my picture. I like to embellish my pictures and make them kind of 3D and a little bit different than what they are, so they won't just look like a plain picture in my room, you know. So the way that I do my bottle brush trees when I'm trying to get them to lay a little flatter is just cut the back of it off. Nobody's going to see it anyway, and that way it's going to lay much flatter up against my picture, and you're still going to get the illusion of the bottle brush tree. And trust me, from the front, you can't even tell you cut it. So I mean, if you ask me, it's a win-win situation. So I just trimmed it up real good and got it exactly shaved down in the back. And I'm not sure why I didn't record the part of me gluing that tree down, but all I did was put a good amount of hot glue back behind it, and it's going to have that flat back now, so it's going to be so much easier for it to stick to. But that's all I did was use, hot glue. So here I'm going to use this beautiful tinsel ribbon that I got from Temu, and I'm going to make it look like it's a swag, just kind of hanging across, or like a line that you would stick ornaments on. Something like that is kind of what came to my mind. Now what I'm going to do is just put a little pinch of glue up on one side and then a pinch of glue down on the other side to hold it together. Super simple and easy. Now it's time to pull out the buttons, and I got these buttons from Temu also. There are 50 of them in a pack, and I can't remember how much they were, but I picked 2 that had the green color and 2 that had the red color, and I'm just going to hang those off of that tinsel to where it kind of looks like ornaments hanging off, or it gives you that illusion. Now, as I was hanging these on there, the tinsel was so much lighter than the buttons, and so the buttons kept trying to move on me a little bit. So what I had to do was just make my tinsel tighter. I pulled it over just a little bit and re-glued it so that it would be more taut and it wouldn't, be flipping around on me. Then I took just a handful of polyfill, or you can use the filling that's inside of a pillow, just anything to make it look like snow. And like I said, I just got a little bit, and it doesn't take much glue at all. I put 2 small dabs of glue down and then stuck my snow right on it. Sorry that it's a little bit off camera right there. The next thing I'm going to do is take one of those little small presents. You get those in a pack of like 12 or 15 at the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to cut my present in half. Just be careful not to cut it where the bow will get messed up. And the reason why I do that is because I don't want it sticking out further than the picture. I put a little bit of glue on the back and the bottom and pop it right down into that snow. And see, if I would have left it like in its regular state, it would have stuck out too far from that picture, and I didn't want it to stick out that much. Now this one's okay because it's much smaller, and I'm going to stick it right in beside the other. Toward the end of last Christmas, I started using these little Christmas presents a lot because I realized that they're such an easy embellishment to pop on, and they just say so much, or at least to me. Now here I'm just using these little teeny weeny bells that I get from Dollar Tree. Some are silver, some are red. I'm just putting a dab of glue on them and just literally popping them a little bit inside the tree. That way they're going to just be glued there, and plus that bottle brush tree is going to help them hold on, and they're going to be the little ornaments. I hope you like this one. I think she turned out so cute. The second one is a gorgeous retro but very modern Santa wreath. I'm taking some of these brass wreath rings. They come in a 3-piece from the Dollar Tree, and this is a great deal, by the way, and I just wanted to make a different style of wreath. I'm going to use some of these little picks that I get from Walmart. They're only $1.28 a piece, and if you think about it, it's really about the same as Dollar Tree, and they have such better quality. I get a lot of my picks from Walmart because I like to elevate, the look of it. Now, this was only $3. It came from the Dollar General, and it is a Christmas bell decoration is what it's called. You're going to pay $1 for each of those bells at Dollar Tree anyway, so why not just spend $3 and get the little wreath in there? And then I knew I was going to use some type of ornament. You can use whatever ornament you choose in this one. I'm going to start this off with my 3 brass rings, and I've already opened up the package and such, and I'm just going to lay them down flat. I'm not going to be holding them. I'm going to be laying them down, and I'm going to put the largest one and then the middle size and the smallest one. I'm going to take a zip tie, and if you hear me call them tie wraps, that's just what I'm used to calling them, but it's actually a zip tie, as I believe the correct way to say it. And I'm going to carefully place this down over them and not totally tighten it until I make sure that they're not overlapping each other. I want it to go biggest, middle, and smallest, and then I'm going to tighten it up. Then you can cut that piece off with your cutters, and I'm going to take it outside and spray paint it with my Rust-Oleum 2x matte black. Then once they're totally dry, you don't want them to be tacky or anything. I brought them inside, and I'm going to use a black zip tie this time. Now this one is a little bit thicker, and the reason why I'm using that is because I want to make sure that it's going to hold these picks down really good. Now don't worry about using several different zip ties because you're never going to see them. Since these picks, these beautiful pine picks are made with a wire, you can bend them and manipulate them the way that you want to. And so I just manipulated them to where they're going to be going in the shape of the wreath. I want both of my pine cones toward the top right there. And then I just made sure to fluff everything out so I could kind of sit back and look at it and make sure it's exactly where I wanted it to be. Now, luckily, these little Christmas bell decorations, they're held on by a zip tie also. So I just cut it off with my cutters and pulled those off of there. I'm just going to keep those on the jute that it already came on. I mean, that's just an absolute bonus for us. These are so pretty, and for $1 a piece, I mean, I just have to say, I don't think that the quality from the ones from the Dollar Tree are anywhere near as nice quality as these are, and these are $1 each, you know. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right in the middle of those 2 picks and then slap that jute with these 3 bells right in the middle. I'm taking my zip tie and I'm just going to tie it so we can have extra security that those bells are not going anywhere. Not only are those bells glued on there, but I went across them with that zip tie in a way that it's also hanging on to them that way too. I hope that makes sense, or you can see there kind of what I did. Then I went through all my ornaments because I just didn't want that reindeer ornament on there. I got this from the Walmart last year for 98 cents. Now it was on like a little pick that you could stick in a flower or something, like a little steel pick. They have these every year, so don't worry. And this one looked so vintage and retro to me. You see where the little pick was on the back? And it was probably about 1 foot tall, the whole thing together. And I just clipped that off with my cutters. I'm going to kind of situate it right there in between those 2 pine cones, and I think it's going to be perfect for this wreath. The red and the black, all the colors just goes together, and then that green in the pines, it just all looks perfect. Now the way that I'm going to make sure that this is going to stay on is just take a bigger size popsicle stick. I'm just going to cut a piece of it off because I figured that that wood would hold on better to that jute cord and stuff back there. And so I'm just going to hot glue that popsicle stick on the back where that wire piece is, right in the very center. And then I'm going to glue that right in the center where my bells are because I just feel like that is going to give it the best hold. Plus, it's kind of snuggled right in between those 2 pine cones, so I know that that Santa's not going anywhere. That's perfect. And I'm going to take one of these pre-made bows. I get these at Walmart every year. There's 12 in a pack, and they're usually $4.98, I believe. But for me, that cuts it down to about 40 cents a bow, and it's so worth it when I'm in a hurry. I'm going to dovetail the ends of this, and the way that I do that is just pull them together, and then I'm going to cut it in a slant to where the wired end is going to be longer. And it's going to put a little V in the end of my bow and create a little dovetail. And then I'm just going to cut the back of the hanger off. It's got like a little twist tie on the back, almost like that comes on a bread tie. And I just cut that off after I twist it and make sure that it's not going anywhere. I fooled around with it, and the best placement that I could come up with for this bow was going to be kind of catty-cornered at the top of that Santa. Now, I didn't want a big gaudy bow. I'm not crazy about them anyway. Sometimes these smaller bows look so much better on these wreaths because I think they just get so overwhelmed by the bow. And that's one of the reasons why I don't like your typical wreath. Now, I do make wreaths, don't get me wrong, but I like mine to be different and have some type of an edge to them and not just be your cookie cutter, always deco mesh, always the same old, same old. I wanted to do something different on this wreath, and I think I achieved that. It's so pretty. And what's even better is I am under between $6 and $7 in this wreath. That's all I have in this wreath so far. It's closer to the $6 mark, to be honest with you, and I'm pretty darn proud about that because I try to keep our stuff budget friendly, as as low as I can, because I know that you guys don't have money growing on trees just like I don't. I took a little cluster of berries that was on the little bells, and I just popped that right in the center of that little bow because I felt that it needed something else. Now, one thing that I must say is when you spray paint these, that spray paint can scratch off and stuff, so I always use this 2x matte clear. It's Rust-Oleum brand, and anytime I'm talking about spray paint or anything like that, I always use the Rust-Oleum 2x. It's usually the best price point, and it's really good. Lori had sent me some different like snow crystal and ice crystal Pent Art products to try. Now, one of them I couldn't get open, and we'll see which one that is here in just a second. But the other one, I opened it up and tried it out. I have been chomping at the bit to get a hold of this snow paste for years, but I've been too cheap to buy it off of Amazon. It's not really expensive. It's just not something that I had in the budget to buy. It's really thick, and it's got the consistency of, wow, it's really hard to say what like a very thick, I really don't know what I could compare it to be honest with you. It's just really thick, and it's nice, and it does look like real snow. It's not very expensive now. Lori sells this at a great price. It's just that for years and years, I've been trying to keep the price point down, so it just wasn't in the budget to get. So I'm glad she sent me some of this to try out. Now, all I'm going to do is put a little bit in a paintbrush and run it up inside that pine cone. And does that not look just like real snow all inside that pine cone? It's so pretty. The only thing I can say is I'm sorry that I waited this long to actually give this product a whirl, because sometimes when you try the products, you know, that well, I'll get it later, or, you know, those are the products that really surprise you, that turn out to be one of your favorite products. And you guys know how I am about glitter and things shining at Christmas time, so I'm just telling you, this is going to definitely be in my Christmas arsenal for as long as I craft. Now, this isn't glittery by any means. I didn't mean that this is glittery. It's just white. It does have a little glitz to it, but it's not a glittery type glitz. And so I wanted to add a little bit on these eucalyptus leaves because, as you see, some of the white came off of it. And I felt that the best way to match up with what was already on there is just to kind of dab it on. And then I kind of ran it through one of the little pine bristles, just kind of here and there. No big deal. Just anywhere that I felt like needed to have what looked like a little bit of fresh snow drizzled on it. And then besides fooling around with that bow just a little bit more until it was exactly how I wanted it, that's pretty much all that I did for this one. And this took me less than 10 minutes to create. And like I said, I have about, at most, $7 in this wreath. Look how beautiful.
Merry Christmas, baby. Reindeer's coming out to play. Santa Claus is packing the presents, making sure you've been behaving okay. Merry Christmas, honey. Yeah. The snowman's dusting off his hat, putting on the show for everybody.
Our third and final DIY is going to be some retro sugar candles. Now, if you're going to make some sugar candles, of course, the first thing you're going to need is some candles. You can use just a real candle, but I like to use these battery-operated candles. I get this size, the white ones, from Discovery Outlet for $1.50. Of course, these small red ones are from the Dollar Tree. And then these are $1.50 a piece, and I get them at the Discovery Outlet. They really remind me of those old vintage candles that we used to plug in and stick in our windows back when I was a kid. Now, the star of the show is going to be this beautiful decoupage paper. I got it from Milton's daughter. And you're not going to believe these beautiful prints they've got this year. Now, in case you have no idea what a sugar candle is, well, honey, let me enlighten you. These are some that I have found at thrift stores just over the years. And look how beautiful these are. They are very special to me for some reason. I just think they're so pretty and they remind me of my childhood. I guess that's why they're special. But you see, they have that sugary look to them. It looks like someone has poured sugar over them and they just sparkle. Now, this one has the nativity scene on it, and if you'll look down at the bottom where my thumb is, you can actually see that it's torn a little, and it kind of tells me that basically what they did was put some type of a piece of paper with a scene on it, and they coated it with something that made it hard and or feel like a hardened crystal. It's probably some type of a sugar, but I don't know as of now. We're just going to recreate it and give our version of a sugar candle. Now, this is the one that I got from Discovery Outlet for $1.50. I get these all day long for $1.50, y'all. They come in this size and a smaller size, and they have a ton of them. So if you have a Discovery Outlet anywhere near your home, you need to hit them up. But I do quickly want to go with you through all these different Christmas prints of this decoupage paper that Lori sent from Milton's daughter. Guys, this one is a very large piece, and it's got this beautiful deer on it and that red bird. You guys know how much I love the red bird. And then this paper has a smaller size of the same picture, the deer, and a larger of the red bird. Those are very standard for that type of paper. They will have a big version and a smaller. This one is a beautiful scene with deer and a cabin in the background. And guys, this needs no explanation. Look at that beautiful angel up at the top. She is so gorgeous. And then that reminds me of the 80s Santa, the way that he looks. This one is probably my favorite. It's got that 80s Santa on it, and I'm so in love with those little elves. They have the cutest little facial expressions. And then it's got some of that little like candy houses on there, little shops. This one has what looks to me like vintage bells and a Christmas tree. And then this one, of course, has different pictures of Santa Claus, and it looks like from different parts of the world what they believe Santa looks like. This one looks like a vintage picture to me of beautiful little birds in the snow. And guys, look at this last one. It's the same picture, just in different sizes of Santa looking at his beard. So if you want any of these prints, you can go visit Lori over at Milton's Daughter. And remember, I'll leave all of her information in the comments and in the description box, so she's easy to find. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is just get the ones that I want to use in this DIY. So I wrapped that red bird around the bigger candle, and I think that he fit perfectly. So I'm just roughly tearing this out. Now, if you guys have been around my channel for any amount of time, you know that when I'm decoupaging, I don't do straight lines. So I don't cut something and just leave it that way. I always like that torn look. But I do want this piece that has the lantern on it. So I'm just going to roughly cut around it. And don't you worry, I am going to go around it later and tear it so that it has that beautiful organic look to it. And then here on this one, what I always do when I'm taking my pictures or when I'm tearing them down, I put a little bit of water on my pad. And I didn't even notice until now that it spilled onto my picture. But I just went around the picture of my Santa with my brush. I was wondering why the water just seemed to be soaking up. I was like, wow, these pictures are really soaking it up. It's because when I set it down, I set it right down in the water. Way to go, Cat. I am a messy crafter, and, you know, that's just one of the beautiful things about me. So yeah, what I like to do is just go around the corners where I wet with that paintbrush, and it makes it so easy to tear in the shape that I want. So now I'm going to do the exact same thing. Since my water mysteriously disappeared, I'm going to spray a little bit more on my silicone mat. Use my very small brush and I just wet it. And all I do is just kind of roughly make like a circle around the one that I want to tear out, if you'll notice. And it just takes a few seconds, honestly, and then you can tear it. And still be careful. Don't go crazy and tear it really fast, but just tear it, and it will just make the most beautiful decoupage art. Because I learned over the years, I've done a lot of decoupage, and I used to never tear my pages until, well, when I started tearing them, I realized what a difference it makes. And if you don't believe me, just cut something out and see the difference that it makes. It just looks so organic, and it makes the piece look as though it was made that way. So like I said, I'm just going through here and getting out all the pieces I need for the sugar candles. And on the pieces that I cut out at first, I went back and made sure to go back and tear them because, like I said, it just makes such a difference. Now, here's my first one that I'm going to put on. And I'm going to use this larger candle that I got from Discovery Outlet. And you guys that know me know that lately I have been doing all of my decoupage with a glue stick. Hey, it's so easy. And, I mean, you can't really make a mistake with it. What I do is go toward the outside. That way my piece is not going to wrinkle or anything. You just want to make sure you get that glue all around the edges. It's purple at first, but as soon as it dries, and it just takes a few minutes to dry, as soon as it dries, that purple's going to go away and it's going to be gorgeous. I always lay my piece down in the center, and I start from the center and rub my way out, and voila, boom, it's stuck on there. Now, how easy is that? So to those of you that think that decoupage is hard or that there's some secret to it, there is no secret. Just follow the steps that I'm telling you, and you will have a successful decoupage every time. Now, I do like to use this type of decoupage paper much better than I do napkins because there is no wrinkles with decoupage paper unless you're just kind of careless or in a hurry or something of that nature. But normally you won't get any wrinkles with decoupage paper. Now, since I put my little red bird on the one side of the candle, I wanted to put this beautiful lantern with the poinsettia on the other side because it matches my little cardinal print, and it's just so pretty. My sister passed away last year, and at Christmas time, I just feel that that red bird just means so much to me. I want to show you guys what this snow paste does. I want you to see, look, it's so thick that if you turned it upside down, it's not going to pour out. If I could describe it, I would say that it is a thick mixture of what's like Mod Podge and glitter together in one step. So at first I was just trying it out and seeing how to use it, and I rubbed it on. I kind of blotted it on to see if that would look any different or any better. And I felt that the best way to cover these candles, because we're trying to get that sugary crystal look, is just to brush it up and down all over my candle. But for me, that one did not have enough glitter in it for a sugar candle. Because if you noticed when I showed you the sugar candles before, they are all just like big crystals of glittery, shiny looking, just really pretty. So I just got some regular matte Mod Podge, and I'm going to add this on top of what I've already done. And I just brush it on with a simple paintbrush, and then I'm taking my Sulene diamond glitter. Now, I get this stuff at Amazon, and it's in my Amazon store if you want to try some of it. It's only about $4, and I use the crud out of this stuff at Christmas time. Now, I don't like glitter all year round, but at Christmas time, like I told you guys, I love when all the lights are off and you just have your Christmas stuff on. I just love the feeling that I get when the light reflects off of that glitter, and it's so pretty, and it just gives me this warm, beautiful feeling that I like. Now, don't you worry about all that extra glitter that's on my wax paper. That's the reason why I do this over wax paper, because I can just pour what's left over right back in my bottle when I'm finished. I don't waste much of anything. Especially my diamond glitter, honey. So the next one I wanted to try out was one of these taller candles. I'm going to put just a little bit of Mod Podge down just because it's not better than one or the other, but it's because it's what I had right there. I just put some right on the middle and picked up one of those little elves, and you see what I did? I just slapped him right on there. I start off in the middle and then just kind of go around, make sure he's stuck down. And now all I'm doing is just covering it with the Mod Podge like I did before and putting the glitter on. Now down here on the bottom, I want to do the same thing. I'm going to put these bells on the bottom, and I'm going to just go over it with my Mod Podge, make sure it's stuck down. And while that Mod Podge is on there and it's still wet, I pour my diamond glitter over the top. And to me, this is the closest that you can get to making a sugar crystal candle and making it look realistic. Remember, like I told you at the first of the video, we're doing retro, where we're doing our interpretation of what the vintage candles look like. And that's okay, because we're still honoring, that it's not vintage, but it's just really pretty, and it's our style. You can do what you want to do and make it the way that you want to make it, and that's the beauty of crafting. We all add our own touch to it and our own style. And I'm so thankful, by the way, that you guys stop in and watch me, the ones that y'all say that I inspire you and stuff like that. That means so much to me. I just thank y'all for, I never thought anybody would want to watch me craft, let alone almost 35,000 of you guys. And I'm so proud of that. And don't you worry, I don't take it for granted. I love every one of y'all. Here I'm doing the same thing, putting a little bit of Mod Podge down, putting my little elf down, and then I covered my whole candle, or the top part, with my Mod Podge and my glitter. And down on the bottom in front of the elf, I'm going to do the same thing. Slap a little bit of Mod Podge and slap that little Christmas house on there. Decoupaging becomes very easy when you follow a few simple steps. It becomes extremely easy, like a second hand. I mean, you know it like you know the back of your hand. You know what I'm saying? But it takes a little bit of practice, and with the tips that I give you, I know that you can do this. I believe in you, and I know you can make your decoupage look like $1,000,000, honey. I know you can. So that's all I'm doing, is going around, coating everything with Mod Podge, and then coating it with that glitter. I'm picking up a lot of it that I dropped on that wax paper because, like I said, I don't want to waste anything. Can you believe that we can make one of these red Dollar Tree candles look like one of the old sugar candles? Well, you watch me, because here I go. I put down my Mod Podge and my little Santa picture, and I picked this 80s looking Santa, and then I just covered it all back over with the Mod Podge, and I'm pouring my beautiful diamond glitter on the top. Then I'm just going to go around in small sections all around my red candle, just like I did the others, with the Mod Podge and then with the glitter. Like I said, it's very repetitive. If you just do those same steps, you're going to have a beautiful turnout. Now on this very last tall candle, I've already used up my 2 elves, but I do have this beautiful little soldier guy, and I'm going to add him and add another set of bells to the front. Now here I'm just taking some of this beautiful green tinsel ribbon that I got from Temu, and I'm cutting off 3 pieces because I measured how big around each one of these tall candles are, and we're going to embellish them with this beautiful ribbon. But before I do that, I picked out 3 red buttons that are the exact same button, and I did get these buttons from Temu. There was 50 in a pack. I'm just putting a little bit of glue on the back, and they're going to go right underneath where that little area where there's nothing there. And I'm going to put those on each of my little tall candles here. I think embellishing them is the fun part, you know. And then I'm just going to put a little dab of glue in the back. I'm going to stick down my little tinsel ribbon and then bring it around and pop it right on there. And these guys are so cute. I'm going to do that to all 3 of these. And guys, I hope that you like my rendition of the vintage sugar candles. They are some of my favorite of all the vintagey retro decor.
Merry Christmas, baby. Reindeer's coming out to play. Santa Claus is packing the presents, making sure you've been behaving okay. Merry Christmas, honey. Yeah. The snowman's dusting off his hat, putting on the show for everybody, to give them a smile that lasts another year. There's something that happens when sleigh bells are ringing, when December ends, when the children are singing, yeah. It's Merry Christmas, baby. Ooh, yeah, there's room out.
Guys, I just want to thank you so much for sticking through to the very end of this video. It was a little bit of a long one. I hope that you enjoyed my rendition of the retro/vintage DIYs and crafts. And I hope that I helped you in some way and inspired you to maybe make some of these crafts. Please let me know in the comments below which is your favorite one. I love to interact with you guys in the comments. And if this is the first time you've ever been to this channel, I want to say again, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping in and giving me a chance. Now, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I don't want you leaving without becoming a part of our family. Also, if you did like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. That really helps me out on YouTube because they will push my videos out there to people who've never seen them before, and that helps out my channel tremendously. And don't forget that my videos are every Monday and Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you here in the next, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Thank you again for watching. Now don't forget to click onto this next video because if you like this one, here's another one that has the same type of content and I think you'll like it too. And you can also hit my face right here and become a subscriber. I love you. God bless you and your family.